Welcome back, everyone. This is Prophet of the Constitution. Last time we left off at the beginning of Act 2. We are on Day 5. I did mention that I'd be customizing some of our units, and I did. I did not customize the Royal Horse Guards or the Schaumburg-Lippe Artillery. Considering they're special units, I didn't want to change them. The Royal French Cavalry are now Royal Cavalry de Laurent. The British Cavalry Regiment is now the 1st Hanoverian Artillery. We have a new addition to the Brunswick Musketeers. We have 2 previously, now we have 3. We have the 2nd Brunswick Imhoff Musketeers. 2 more Hanoverian regiments, battalions. The 4th Battalion Sachsen-Gotha Musketeers and 2nd Battalion Hardenberg Musketeers. 2 Hesse Musketeer units I named as Grenadiers, considering we're going to be using them as Grenadiers. We have the 3/8th Schlotheim Grenadiers and the Hessen-Darmstadt Leib Grenadier Guard. Alright, let's do battle here with the army that was intercepting us last time. They have 3 units of cavalry, 5 fusiliers, one of which is veteran, and 3 units of artillery, one of which is a field artillery. Alright, let's see how this goes. As you can see, it's a much more capable force in general for our very first battle of Act 2 than the majority of what we faced in Act 1. You'll notice that to be the case. The enemy will not only increase in number, but in quality. We're definitely a lot less likely to see recruits now in Act 2, and much more likely to start seeing veteran units be a part of these armies. Alright, let's take a look at the terrain. Got a hill down here, river. We do have some various terrain in the center. Not a whole lot of buildings, not a whole lot of cover. We can make do, however. Alright. We have a hill. We want to put our artillery on a hill, considering they get an accuracy upgrade there. Alright. This center ground is also not bad at all. I think we'll go ahead and take this and use this hill here. Set up our infantry without bayonets here. Set them up there for a moment. Get the grenadiers ready. Cavalry will be on our right flank again. Artillery will be set up here, prepared to move up onto that hill. Commander there. Alright. End deployment. I'm going to move our cavalry up here. Fantastic. Alright. Let's see. We are going to be putting the artillery up on this hill, as we mentioned. Put them on the back end of the hill, I believe, so we can actually position some of our men on that hill. Let's see. We want these units in reserve. We want the recruits to be front and center. Hanoverian units besides. Put these units on the flank. Put our grenadiers back here in the rear somewhere. Alright, let's see how this goes. We got to get to our positions quickly. That's why I didn't take anyone out of column and put them into line. We need to reach that position before the enemy is upon us. Alright. See how this goes. Go ahead and speed it up a little bit here as well. One type of mod I'm looking forward to is a mod that speeds up the game even more for certain moments, like moving them across the map as such. Especially early game when all you have is recruits and slow units. Alright, fantastic. I'm going to make our grenadiers into a line here so that they don't get ate up by artillery. Cavalry are going to advance up here behind the enemy line. Their guns are going to begin to get in range of our troops, and they are going to begin setting up, most likely, to open fire on us. Not the most fantastic thing in the world, but nothing that we cannot handle. Alright. Set up here. Need to get our units out of column now as the enemy artillery is beginning to open fire on us. Some units still need to travel to where they're going to be first. Cavalry is nearly behind enemy lines. Fantastic. I'm going to keep this up. Our own artillery is beginning to be in position. Going to unlimber them and allow them to begin opening fire. Wonderful, wonderful. Hanoverian troops are being attacked by the artillery for the moment. Not sure I want them doing counter battery, however. I'd much rather have them attacking the enemy infantry that are advancing on our position. Put the Laurent volunteers up here. Gonna have to deploy these boys because they're advancing on us and we don't have much time to begin deploying them. Fantastic. German recruits are going to keep coming up the flank. That'll be great. Begin to spread these guys out as our reserves a little bit more so artillery won't totally decimate them. Let's check our artillery on their cavalry. I like attacking cavalry with artillery. We'll hit the gentleman cavalry. Because cavalry are very vulnerable to artillery. They make big targets. And they don't have much of an effective response. I mean, of course, running up on them, but when your artillery is protected by your infantry, there's not a whole lot that they can do. Still somewhat getting in position now as they reach our line. Not too big of a deal. We are going to be moving these grenadiers up here, however, just to be sure that we have reserves across the back end of the line if they try to charge us or if they try to cause some other kind of breakthrough. Not something we want to be dealing with today. Cavalry are moving up. Going to prepare to deal with the enemy dragoons. Make sure artillery is attacking multiple types of their cavalry at the moment. Alright, fantastic. We're doing some damage. Our grenadiers are also taking a little bit of damage. Alright. Not as much cover as we're normally used to. Alright, we can still do a number on the enemy, however. Absolutely. Alright. Opened fire on us. The morale is starting to break on this flank, however. They do not enjoy that our artillery is shelling their cavalry. They do not enjoy that one bit. Gonna open fire on them and then charge them with the horse guards. Charge them together. Make sure they reinforce one another. Fantastic. We drove them off. Need to get them out of the charge. Slow them down. Alright. Begin to approach their guns and their cavalry. Alright, so their line is beginning to collapse over here. So we're going to advance. It's wonderful. Charge them together. Do what we can over here. Definitely taking some casualties. They have good equipment for their cavalry. Makes it a little more difficult for us. But again, if we can use our cavalry in conjunction with one another, it's not as big a deal. Problem is their artillery is doing some massive damage with canister fire against our cav. That's not great at all. Their infantry is returning. So we're going to go ahead and set up in a new line over here. They are returning to the battle. Not ideal. We can deal with it, however. Definitely going to get our cavalry out of there. They are hurt, and they're bringing fusiliers to come after them. Not something we want to deal with particularly. Their front line, however, is basically in complete and utter disarray. That's fantastic. See what we can do about this here. It may be that their cav is getting ready to attack our line. Let's see here what they decide to do. Looks like their cav is not making up their mind on what they want to do exactly. Infantry engaging their own infantry. Fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and move our boys up. Try to make sure we take out the artillery. Be mindful of the cavalry. And finish their line off. Set some of our men in column here so they can advance more effectively. Alright. Cavalry is still under attack by the enemy guns. Not fantastic at all. Keep the guns firing on their cavalry. That's fantastic. They're beginning to run. Moving our men up. Wonderful. They're about to open fire on our Hanoverian troops. Angling to fire at them. Fantastic. Our cavalry is getting punished by our artillery. Keep moving the units up the flank. We're going to prepare the Lorraine volunteers to charge the enemy line. Their units keep coming back for the fight in this one. Very interesting. Stubborn, aren't they? All right. See if our volunteers can break their Fusiliers. Their cav is moving up. They're likely going to charge. Looks like they're charging our Gotha musketeers. Open fire. Fantastic. That was a great volley. Now receive the enemy. We begin attacking these units that are fleeing with our cavalry now. Making sure that they're not going to come back. Ran off their cavalry. Wonderful. To attack their other units. Fantastic job, cavalry. Good work. Running off the enemy. Taking more casualties than I'd normally like to here. Unfortunately, when we don't have cover, it gets a little more difficult to keep from the casualties. See what we can do here. Shattered those units. Wonderful. Alright, we won the battle. Look at that. A little more casualties than usual, but we advanced on the enemy. We took them out. Not too bad considering that they had a little bit better position in my mind than we did. though we did outnumber them. Alright, let's see what we got. 620. Fantastic. Alright. Let's see. We got a few good items. We also got an excellent item. Let's see. Their kills 305 by that artillery. That's kind of rough. Alright. Not too bad, though. We did suffer 1,800 losses, and we only have 1,400 reserves. We are going to go for the reservists, especially considering it's more expensive for us as settlements. I don't want to be dealing with that if I can help that at all. I'd much rather not do that. Alright. Do some replenishment. Baum has an ability. Let's hope it's something great for musketeers. Cavalry, no. Orderly, stamina, veterancy gain, that's not too bad. And range. Range. I think I like the range. We'll go ahead and do that one. See how that goes. Alright, we did sell most everything that we have. We're going to put the Gorget down here. Perhaps I'm not pronouncing that right. Gorget. Alright, move this up here. We are going to sell this. Keeping this. Going to go ahead and keep this also. Move this down one. There we go. These excellent greatcoats, they're going to go on our grenadiers. Fantastic. We already had excellent greatcoats. Okay, they're going to go on our other grenadiers. Fantastic. Ramrods for accuracy and reload. Let's see. 21 seconds, most of these guys. Excuse me. 19. Alright, we're going to go ahead and give them to the Hanoverians here. Bring it down to 21 seconds. That's fantastic. Have a few extra muskets. Alright, let's move on up here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the outpost first, considering we need multiple outposts. Friendlies under siege. Encircled, their stores running low. March to relief. We get an artillery regiment and a tough enemy field army. Or wait 7 days. Yeah, we're not doing 7 days for a weak army. We'd rather have a tough enemy army anyway. More loot, more reward. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to face a tough enemy field army and get an artillery regiment. British battalion artillery. Definitely fine with that. Start with canister. Not super fond of that. It's okay. I will put the canteens on them to improve their stamina, however. Alright. Not a bad thing to have some more artillery. Definitely okay with that. Alright. Let's go ahead and do battle. They do outnumber us. Could be a bit of a tough fight. 2 artillery. 3 cavalry. Let's see, 3 grenadiers. 7 fusiliers, 3 of which are veterans. Alright, let's do this. Looks like a tougher battle. Also, because the time between this battle and the previous battle was pretty short, our units did not have a chance to replenish all their losses. Especially because we have the negative modifier on to make it take 30% longer to replenish our forces. Definitely have to watch that. We'll be alright though. We'll keep hurt units in reserve. We'll advance cautiously upon the enemy. We might defend depending on the terrain here. A lot of wooded terrain. I think we're going to set up over here across these woods. Looks very favorable to us. We'd have this hill also to set up our guns. Set up the guns on this hill. Well, they can't set up there yet, but we'll set them up so that they can. Take them off of bayonet. Put the grenadiers on bayonet. Set up the general back here. I'm going to set up our cav over here, but we can't do as much with the cav this time, considering the cav is so hurt. I'm not keen to get them shattered or anything, so we're definitely not going to be doing anything like that. Nothing crazy with the cav. Set up these units here. Bit of a messy deployment, but we'll take care of it. Alright. Yeah, we'll keep the volunteers here. Hanoverians are all going to come up here together. We have both of these boys that are going to be holding the center. These boys are going to be in reserve in each location, respectively. Get the grenadiers back here just in case they're needed. Make sure to remember to put our artillery on this hill that we've got for them. Fantastic. Keep the cavalry kind of out of sight, out of mind. They'll take any kind of advanced opportunity. They'll probably hit the guns, but not be able to deal with the cavalry. We may have to have the infantry repulse cavalry charges. You do not want to lose your heavy cavalry early in the game, especially because they're more vulnerable. You don't have elite items yet or anything like that. Makes them a little bit easier for the enemy to destroy. Not fantastic. Not something you want. Alright. Set them up in line in the woods. Set these guys up in line. However, we're going to adjust it a little more. We're going to adjust this somewhat so that way we get the most cover effectiveness. Definitely something that we want. Set them up here in the woods. Alright. Move the game speed up a little as everyone gets to their positions. Alright, fantastic. Let's see, which Hanoverian unit is hurt the most? Yeah, probably the Vreed. Alright, we're not going to put them in there yet. Gonna have them take over here and over here. Have them do reserve duty also. Set up the commander over here. Our guns are ready. Gonna go ahead and unlimber them. Move our cav back to make sure they don't get hit by enemy artillery if we can help it. Looks like they've already been hit by enemy artillery. Let's see what they've got. They got something shooting at them? They do. They're getting hit by artillery already, and that's because they have Liechtensteins. That is not good. That is not something that we wanted to see them have, but also not something we can do much about. Alright. Some nasty guns there. Already got our cav in range. Already opening fire and doing massive damage to them. Alright. We know their guns are very dangerous now. Definitely not something we were hoping for. We'll figure something out, however. Move the grenadiers over to that flank. Set up our reserves a little better. Alright. Move the cavalry back even further. Fantastic. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Speed up a little bit as the enemy approaches. Definitely going to take a good deal more to win this battle here. Very, very good thing we have terrain on our side. Most of the grenadiers are on this flank here. Do have one here. Quite the stack of enemy capability, I tell you that. Their guns here are still going after our cavalry. That is not great. Wait for the enemy to advance upon us. They're waiting for their other end of the line to catch up. Alright. Cav, y'all need to get back here. Likely hamstrung on using the cavalry at the moment. Keep them behind our line and wait for an opportunity to use them effectively. Enemy artillery is opening fire on us. Enemy units are advancing. The artillery is now beginning to go after our line units. Alright. Prepare for them to meet our line. As you can see, there is the potential to be outflanked on both sides. They're definitely going to want to hit our guns on that hill as well. And try to go around and flank us, most likely. Those Liechtensteins are nasty guns, man. Alright, set it up. Go heavy on the right flank. Try to draw them in on the left flank. Hit them by surprise with our grenadiers. Could be a very tough fight. Alright. Steady, hold the line. Double check who our units are firing at over here. They're shooting at the grenadiers. It's not too bad an idea. Fantastic. The enemy's opening fire across the line, as are we. They do have a cav unit protecting the artillery. Can our cav overcome them? French gentleman cavalry. 60 and 79. I think we can overtake them. Starting to get a little risky. Move our troops down just to be sure our guns don't get hit. But we want to deal with those Liechtensteins with the cavalry. We may not be able to do a lot with the cavalry, but that is something that we want to do. Our men are doing alright right now, holding the line, holding these woods, letting the enemy come to us. Moving up their flank here. Liechtensteins are just about to open fire on my cav. Not great. See what we can do over here. Keep holding the line here. Move up the musketeers. Move up the grenadiers with them. Open fire on the gentleman cavalry. And order them to charge alongside one another. Hopefully the 2-on-1 odds will definitely help. Cav are taking some serious damage, but they are overcoming the enemy. Fantastic. Alright, we are going to, as quickly as possible, take on the field artillery. We do not want those Liechtensteins killing more of our cavalry. Fantastic. Alright, wonderful. We are going to be pulling back, however. It's about all our cav is going to be doing for daring actions. Can't afford to do much more. We broke some of their units on this flank. That is good news. Move up the Gotha musketeers a little more. And now, we're going to use both of these musketeers to charge the enemy. Hopefully before they fire a volley. Nope, not quite. Our units are firing a volley in support of our men. Fantastic. Now, they're going to move up and attack the other part of the enemy line, since those musketeers basically have that down. Alright. Musketeers are now engaging the enemy. Their grenadiers are preparing to engage them on that flank. However, we are going to be using our own grenadiers to fire on them. So that's going to be wonderful. Target those grenadiers with the guns. Definitely would like to shatter them, but we need to keep the line moving. We need to win this battle. Need to keep outflanking them over here now that we've got the advantage. They're firing on the musketeers. Move up the grenadiers on their flank. Wonderful. Cavalry up here. Looks like they're moving their cavalry to intercept our own. Really got to watch that. That would not be a good outcome. Who's faltering? Yeah, our recruits on that flank getting shot in the flank themselves. They don't appreciate that. Let's see, their grenadiers have 44 and 41 charge in melee. They are no match for our Hessian grenadiers. No match whatsoever. We just got to get around that flank and watch out for their cavalry. Alright, so these units have now returned to the fight. We're going to charge them before they have a chance to do anything. Now, unfortunately, our units are starting to get tired up there. Going to have to stop them. We do not want them getting way too tired. Alright, they took another flank shot over here, and they are running from the field. They are fleeing. We begin charging the enemy. They're doing a volley. How are we doing up here? Alright, we are winning that fight. Our men are exhausted, however. Let's take a look what the enemy cavalry is doing over here. Yep, they are getting ready to attack my cav. The grenadiers are reforming to prepare to repulse our own grenadiers. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Fantastic. They are charging our recruits. That is not good. Set up the Lorraine volunteers. They're going to need to charge them in the flank. And likewise with our other musketeers here. We cannot let them run down our recruits that are fleeing now. Cavalry need to get closer to our own grenadiers. The unit here has returned again. That is not something that we like. Unfortunately, because we do not have cavalry superiority, we are currently unable to deal with that problem and keep them from returning entirely. Their artillery is doing some massive damage. Now, the good thing is we're folding this section of their line, and we're just going to keep going with it. We are taking casualties, but we are beginning to fold their line. Going to order these Hanoverians up, take out the guns. Super, super important. Make sure these guys stop what they're doing, stop in their tracks. Do not want them following too closely and getting hit by enemy cavalry. Their cav is still coming after our own. Our troops are getting hurt pretty bad by the veteran fusiliers there in that combat. Getting ready to break themselves. That's not fantastic. Units are reforming. Alright. Starting to reform across the line. That's good. That's good. Move our cav back over here safely. We really need to move the general over here, see if he can inspire these men a little bit. Now, we went lighter on our left flank, and it's showing. They're starting to roll our flank over there. But we are rolling their right flank. So, not awful per se. Not great, however. See what we can do. They are charging our men. That is not good. That's grenadiers. Yikes. Cavalry need to save the day if they can. Need to move these men back. Still embroiled in combat and they're exhausted. That is not going to go well for those recruits. Moving up to open fire on them. Advancing. Our left flank is beginning to collapse. Those cav are going to be timely. I'm going to order these guys to hold fire. They are going to get charged by enemy cavalry. There's no way around that. Hopefully our cavalry will break their grenadiers before the recruits fall. Fantastic. That heavy cavalry are definitely paying off. Doing exactly what we pay them to do. That's good. Even hurt they are. Wonderful. They're getting shot. Going to do a volley. Open fire, boys. Unfortunately, not the greatest volley, however. Going to take 2 cav units, taking them out. That's not good. We need to countercharge these cav now. Guys are starting to get tired. Grenadiers holding them off there. Move on the double, Hanoverians. I don't like tiring my boys, but I don't really have a lot of options at the moment if I don't want them to take casualties. Alright, moving up our troops still. Keep them moving up over here towards the flank. These men need to move back and kind of protect the guns as much as they can. Recruits need to move up. Now our grenadiers did manage to break one of the units of cav. However, more cav are coming in. Wow, our grenadiers are getting hurt. Man, they're taking casualties. Those carbines, man, do a frick ton of damage. Yikes. Alright. And of course, their veteran fusiliers are charging into us once again. Not overly fantastic either. Going to go ahead and target those grenadiers. Cav are tired. Getting charged by the grenadiers. The grenadiers are hurting. Going to give them support from our cav. Get there in time. Alright. Move these boys back over. Hanoverians did get there in time to take out the guns. Wonderful. These boys need to keep moving, actually. I know they're trying to help and open fire, but the lines are overlapping, and that's not fantastic. Line them up. These volunteers about to get hit by the enemy. See, these men reformed? Yeah, their grenadiers are reformed. We need our cav to stop chasing the enemy. We need the grenadiers to stop chasing the enemy. Alright. Open fire together. Have them watch their flank. Those grenadiers look like they're going to come back. Alright, they did stop the charge. That's good. Stop running, guys. I know you got done with melee combats, but you gotta stop running. We need our grenadiers to get the frick out of there. Do not want to lose a grenadier unit. That would be catastrophic at this point in the campaign. Definitely catastrophic. Gonna have to intercept with our Brunswick Imhoff musketeers. Perhaps the grenadiers can open fire on the rear of the enemy. Maybe the cav can help them with that. But we cannot afford to have any units shattered. As we mentioned previously, If our units get shattered, they're basically done for. Yeah, not fantastic. We're going to keep these units up here together in the event that the enemy tries to return. Hanoverians are going to come back down to try to join the battle, however. Desperately need some more men on the line here. It's turned into quite the crapshoot. Very interesting. Tough, tough fight. Haven't had a tough fight like this in a little while. Definitely very entertaining, however. Very good fight. I don't necessarily like it to be always a one-way thing. Not that I mind winning, mind you. Alright, keep moving up. They're opening fire. I don't want them to shoot at them, however. Shooting corpses is not exactly the way to win. Beginning to cause their men to rout en masse. Wonderful, wonderful. Grenadiers are trying to flank my men. I don't really like that. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and charge them in the flank. Fantastic. Go ahead and shatter them, boys. I do not want to see those Grenadiers return to the fight once again. Keep moving up. They do have a basically fresh unit of volunteers. Or, I mean, Fusiliers. Fantastic. They broke. It's going to be it for them. I'm going to go ahead and charge these guys, make sure they don't return. Alright, fantastic. Alright, that's the end of those guys. Set us up on their flank here. Move up the German and Lorraine recruits and the Imhoff musketeers. We're going to keep these grenadiers back far, far away. Alright. Sure everyone's shooting the right target. Yeah. Alright, preparing to open fire. And there's the battle. That was a tough fought battle, guys. That was something else, I tell you what. Very fun. Very good battle. Went back and forth a little bit there. We don't have a lot of good items for our troops. And some of them are still recruits, so as you can see, the difficulty between Act 1 and Act 2 is enormous. Alright, let's see here. This unit of German Fusiliers got all together too many kills. 300 plus kills. 260 for the Cav here. 430 for the Grenadiers, man. They got kill sets that look a little bit more like ours. Because we lost 3,600 men, we've got to do the conscription. We've got to restore and replenish our losses. Don't really have an option. Just so you can see what we can get, the $489 will be fantastic for us, and ammo, 1,099. Veterancy and provisions, that's not bad. Provisions would help us, though, right now, because winter's going to come again soon. Because we're basically just on the cusp of fall again. I'm not sure why Act 1 ends in winter and Act 2 doesn't start winter just yet, but anyway. Conscript. See what we got. We got some casualties. We're going to go ahead and replenish our men. We got some rank ups. Thankfully, Baum is one of them. Going to see what kind of ability he can get. Let's see what we got. He's got range already. Infantry accuracy, but malice to reload speed. Grenade throw, melee, nah. Charge now. We're going to do meticulous. I know it reduces reload speed a little bit, but infantry accuracy 10% for the officer. That's pretty good. Go ahead and do that. Now our artillery. I believe the slowest firing artillery we have is the Brummer. So we can go ahead and put that on there so they can reload a lot faster. That can be sold. Gun picks. Let's see. Who needs more reload? I'll give it to these guys, the Lorraine Volunteers. Well, let's see. They're going to become cavalry, are they not? Yeah. Yeah, they're going to become Well, interesting. German and Swiss troops, Irish troops. Well, I think we'll do the cav, I think. All right, we do have some good muskets. Let's do that. Put some more of these items down here in the event that we get free troops. Sell some of these. Start getting some high quality items for our men. Definitely imperative. Put these muskets on some of our men here. Neustadt. Keep the Potsdams. Big fan of Potsdams. So we have Neustadt, Charleville, and Delft. Let's replace these Delft muskets. Let's do that. Fantastic. I think that'll do right now. Great. Excellent. We're going to go ahead and go to this town. Artillery for sale. More items at shops. We'll start buying some excellent items as we find them. Take a look at Foundry at the cannons. They have Liechtensteins available. 1,800 a pop. 3 of them. Wow. That's awesome. Check the map real quick. I want to see if there's a place that has higher sell value. Item sale cost 20%. We don't want to sell our crap here yet. We want to wait till we get up north and sell them up there. They have some excellent horses. Steppe horses are fantastic. Keep your men in the game. Hungarian horses are also very good. Staff call. Yes. Treatise Holiday. Yeah, we're buying that. Let's see. Bland. Veteran. Nah. Don't need that. Holidays are really important for your guns. Quartermaster. Yep. Implements. Excellent. Buying that. Tampions for accuracy. Excellent. Buying that. Wonderful. Town Square. We're getting Teapot, boys. That's wonderful. See, Gunsmith. I hope they have Jaeger rifles. That would be wonderful. They have Jaeger rifles. Okay, they have excellent ones here. Let's see. How many more carbide they do? They have good ones. I don't really want good ones. Excellent. We'll wait on this stuff. Be nice to get a Liechtenstein, but I don't think I'm going to spend that much on it. We are going to get these excellent earthworks. Earthworks increase the cover that your men get and give them charge resistance. That's always fantastic. And this means if they're outside of cover, they still get a base cover of 30. So it's like they have lighter cover. And any cover they do have is drastically improved. See what kind of officers they have. If they have a really good combination, we'll go ahead and get it. Stamina and melee, not too bad. Reload and grenade throw, that's garbage. Accuracy, cover and fire damage. Morale damage dealt. Effectiveness. Oh, man. That'd be really good for infantry if we didn't have the artillery range thing. It's not great. Does the infantry actually... Nah, those don't mesh well together. Stamina, melee, morale damage received, and range. Veterancy, firm. Nah. We're good. I will get a little bit more provisions here, however, just to be sure we're going to be fine in the wintertime. Alright, boys. See, we need battlefields and outposts. I'm going to come up here, check out this encampment. Ooh, I really would like to fight that army right now. I don't think we're capable for the moment. Blanket and a pelt. Man, we can't help them. That is not a good event, man. We get attrition potentially, and we're unable to get money from helping our boys. And we did get attrition. We had men leave the army because of that. That's not great. All right, we're going to come back down here. Circle back around for our efforts, because our objectives are over here. We're going to sell things in this town because we get a bonus for it. All right, let's see. 758. We got to just watch that a little bit. $752, not bad. There we go. That's fantastic. Let's see, the Powder House doesn't have none left really. Town Square has a little bit. Keeping those and keeping most of this. We're just going to get rid of these new stats. Fantastic. Let's make sure not to forget to upgrade our units here. Gonna put this excellent holiday on them. Gonna put the other holiday on them. Previous units are gonna get an upgrade here. And let's see, reload 31, 27, 26. We're gonna give the teapot to the artillery here also. More accuracy. Reload is better. Let's see, who do we want the cover bonus on? Get the Imhoff Musketeers, the cover bonus. And accuracy. These volunteers. No, they have a gun pick. They can't take that at the moment. Let's see here. They have a gun pick also. I forgot I started with a bunch of gun picks also, basically. That's very interesting. Go ahead and do this here. Get this on these guys. There we go. That's not too bad here. Got everybody set up. German recruits. What was I going to make them? 3 Hanoverians. 3 Brunswick troops. We got multiple grenadiers. Let's see. Hessians. I might make them another artillery. Of course, we could get another freebie here. Got to figure out what it is we want exactly. We got 2 brigades of line infantry, cav, artillery, and grenadiers. I'm going to leave them recruits for now. Recruits get a bonus. So like a recruit for level 3 is going to take less to reach the next rank, as opposed to a unit that's not a recruit. Like these guys, they'll take significantly longer to level up. Alright. Gonna make these guys Hanoverian foot. That's gonna be better for them. Musketeers can stay as they are. Cav as good as they are. Alright, guys. We sold our crap. Gonna head up this way. See what we got if we end up in more battles or anything. We got 2 battlefields here we've got to do for our objectives. Gonna complete that. Last stand. We arrived to find a lone regiment of our allies in desperate combat. Alright. We can charge into battle. We get a heavy line infantry. That's a grenadier, basically. Tough enemy field army. Or unlikely chance to rescue them when we suffer attrition. Yeah, we can't do that. Abandon them? We're not going to do that. Charge into battle. Hanoverian Grenadiers. It's fantastic. Only problem is, we're out of slots. We need a new brigade. So I'm going to spend our money here on new brigade so we can get that done. Move artillery into this brigade. Cav has their own brigade now. Grenadiers are going over here. Fantastic. Alright. Don't have any upgrades for these grenadiers yet. We're going to remove the grenades. As I mentioned before, we're going to save those in case we go after any fortresses or anything. See if we should give them an item here or something. Give this excellent greatcoat to them since they're already grenadiers. Alright. They need an officer for the artillery. Gonna do John Jacob. Do him since he's fresh, no abilities. Alright. That's a pretty powerful army. I will leave this here. We're gonna fight this tough field army next time. It's day 22. Enemy HQ 140. Still near the beginning of Act 2. Thank you for joining me, and God bless.